Now that is more like it. After one of the worst Klopp Liverpool performances I've seen in years, if not ever, against Napoli last week, Liverpool had to significantly improve to get anything against a good Ajax team today. But they did. They pulled it out of the bag. They've won 2-1 at Anfield. And this performance will hopefully kickstart our season again. The Napoli game was a real low. And I said in the previous video that Liverpool had to improve everywhere if they're going to make anything of this season. And they were able to do that tonight. Maybe it was a bit of a blessing, the Wolves game getting postponed, the team having some extra time on the training ground, time to really think things through, reflect, figure out where the problems are, maybe point a few fingers. Whatever happened, it worked. This team, this performance was totally different. It was like watching a different side against Ajax tonight versus the one we saw in Naples last week. Although there were many individual improved performances, the biggest difference was collectively. It was the fact that we played more like a team. That compactness that was missing against Napoli was there again tonight. It was more of a classic Klopp Liverpool performance. And it starts with the simple things. Keeping shape, pressing together. One person goes, the next follows behind them. Players probably feeling more confident that if they miss a tackle, if someone breaks through, that their teammate's going to be there backing them up. It's going to be there behind them. And that's what really characterised Liverpool performances when Klopp first joined the club. The team would hunt in packs. They'd always, especially in the middle of the park, it was so hard to play through the middle because you'd always see 3 or 4 Liverpool players surrounding the ball. And the fact that you have more of a unified press, you have more compactness in the centre of the field, it meant we won more ball. It was much harder to play through the centre. The defence wasn't left so exposed. There weren't players bursting through the midfield, running head on against the defenders so incredibly easily as we saw last week. So collectively as a team, this was a massive improvement. The application of the players, the attitude, the desire, that was another significant improvement. Players just seemed more switched on. They were playing like they meant it. They were playing like they wanted it, and they started the game strongly, which is something we just simply have not seen enough. But it wasn't just the attitude that was improved. It was the actual performance. The quality of the performance went up a few notches as well. And a huge part of that was the improvements to the midfield. And this is the segue to say, God bless Thiago. Oh, it was so good to see him back. No disrespect to James Milner, who's had an amazing career. He just simply, he is what he is at this point. We can't expect him to perform to the levels we need a centre midfielder to be with the aspirations of a team that Liverpool have. But Thiago versus Milner, it's like it's day and night. And you could see the quality from Thiago from the first couple minutes. There's a point where Van Dijk plays the ball into centre midfield. There's an Ajax player closing Thiago down on both sides. If that was Milner coming towards the ball, he would 100% be playing the ball backwards. But Thiago plays a no-look, first-time pass out to Trent in acres of space on the side of the pitch. And beats the press, lets us start moving forward. And you could see just the composure, the technique, the ability to play the ball at the right time, at the right pace, the ability to just gain half a yard to make space in the centre of a congested pitch. That process repeats itself throughout the game, whereas Milner would consistently be giving the ball away, Thiago could get out of trouble and then get the team moving forward. And almost him alone managed to significantly improve our ability to control the game. Fabinho was much more active, although I still think he's not winning as much ball as I think he could. He was putting in more tackles than he has in the last few games, but the timing still slightly off. I still think Fabinho has a few levels to go up. Harvey Elliott made up the third of the three centre midfielders. And he worked hard, but I felt like he struggled to have a real impact on the game. He did give the ball away a little bit more than I'd like to see, especially from him, who's generally got a great first touch and good technique. And I think, I mean, look, he's only 19. He's plenty of time to learn. But you do, if he's not offering that protective cover that, say, a Henderson would on that right-hand side of midfield, we do need to see him influencing the game going forward more. And at a minimum, being like glue, making sure that ball sticks every time it comes to him. That was one thing that Wijnaldum used to do so well. He might not have influenced the game that much going forward, but he almost never gave the ball away. And that is a really important type of player to have in the team. So Harvey Elliott, just looking for him to tighten up a little bit in possession. The defence, huge improvements as well. Van Dijk looked like he was playing to prove a point. He wanted to send a message with this performance. He was completely dominant in the air, at the back, and on the offensive side of things. He should have scored. Liverpool had so many opportunities from set plays in this game. But it was great to see, and it was for sure Van Dijk's best performance so far this season for Liverpool. Now he just needs to keep it up. The next really important addition to the starting lineup was Joel Matip. Now, I do rate Gomez. He's only 25 or 26. Again, he was starter in the Premier League winning season a few years back, so he has it in him. But he just misses a lot of key challenges, or he seems to be recently. And obviously against Napoli, he had a horrendous game. But Matip, just that composure on the ball in particular is so important. And he enables Liverpool also to gain control of the game because he steps into midfield and almost plays like an additional man in there. He can do damage to the opposition on the ball by dribbling, or even his passing is half decent. So he'll always draw an extra forward to close him down, and then that will obviously open up space in other parts of the pitch. He also just makes better decisions in general than Gomez, certainly right now. And I felt like he had a very solid game. It was really, really good to see him back. Trent has been getting a lot of stick, and rightly so, to be honest. The goal for Ajax, though, did unfortunately come down his side again. The forward ran off the back of him. Could he have done better there? Maybe. I think he thought Matip would have had him covered. He also, once he sees the man run, he doesn't really sprint to get back. Maybe we just have to accept we're not going to get that kind of defensive conscientiousness from Trent. There was that chance as well in the second half where Danny Blind had a header that was, it was inches wide. Again, came down Trent's side. He did sprint back into the box to cover it, and there were two players to cover. So you can give him a little bit of leeway there. But it did feel like he could have got back a bit quicker in that instance too. In general, though, his performance was miles better. Way better use of the ball. Seemed more switched on in general. Seemed to be working harder. Just taking the game more seriously. And he was popping up in some... he's not really a fullback, is he? There was one point when Van Dijk plays a raking ball over the top and it's into the right-hand side. You think it's probably going to be Salah there. It was Trent running onto the ball, kind of the furthest man forward. And there was a chance in the first half where he got played in, cut inside, took a shot with his left foot. He, in a sense, he's playing two different roles for Liverpool. He's like this creative midfield force driving forward, but then he's also expected to offer world-class defensive cover. I know it's a big ask, but we do have to find that balance between making sure that we're not conceding sloppy goals and being solid at the back, while also being able to utilize all his vast array of skills going forward. Tsimikas had a good game. He had some really nice skillful moments. At one point, there was a bouncing ball, someone running at him, and he just flicked it over his head. He spun somebody well on the byline of his own box at one point too. Had a good game, put in some decent deliveries. Didn't really feel like we missed Robbo in this one too much, which is a compliment to Tsimikas. He really is probably as close as you can get as a good like-for-like cover. Obviously, overall, Robertson's going to be a better player, but Tsimikas he's never really let the team down. Up front, delighted Salah got the goal. Boy, did he need that goal. I think it's been about 8 games in the Champions League since he'd scored. He hadn't scored in 5 this season. The goal itself, Jota did very well. Played Salah in nicely. Salah's first touch looked like he kind of overhit it a little bit, but that almost forced him to take a snapshot with his left foot. Finished it extremely well. I hope this just gets him... Is it a confidence thing for Salah? You feel like it's not. He seems like a very confident person. But we just really need him to start hitting the heights of what he's capable of. That's only his 3rd goal this season, which by his standards, he's capable of a lot better. Diaz should have scored a couple goals, had some decent chances. Could have done a little bit better one-on-one, I felt at times, but had a good game overall. Jota had a very good game, I would say. We hadn't really seen him playing centre forward for quite a while. Apparently, I heard someone say it was since March, surprisingly, which is extra surprising seeing that he scored nearly 25 goals in all competitions last year. But he did well. The thing I liked most about it actually was how he led the press. He was the trigger, and he was smart about it. He didn't always just sprint at the defensive line and the goalkeeper. He bid his time. And he chose the right moments to go. And the structure was there because you could see Diaz, Salah, maybe it was Thiago or Elliott, everybody coming in together. It was that compactness which made a really big difference in this game. Jota, I felt as well, picked up some nice positions in between midfield and defence. Was able to turn and then drive at the defenders. And that's probably one of his best... He's not necessarily amazing at turning, but he carries the ball very quickly in the dribble, so he can cause danger. He had an incident in the second half where he kind of made space for a shot by beating a couple men or cutting across them. So encouraging signs from Jota. We're going to need him to hit form and to start putting the ball in the back of the net. Núñez came on with about 25 minutes to go. Did okay. Again, that first touch, not the best. He's very much a box player. He won't get too involved with the overall play, but he just hoovers up chances. Opportunities just seem to arise when he's around the ball. Probably should have scored with a right foot shot that he skewed wide. A couple times was able to to show his pace, drive down the wings. At one point he drove down the left-hand side, cut back inside, left the defender for dead, played the ball across, and Diaz would have had a tap in if the goalkeeper hadn't got a fingertip on the ball. So overall it was decent, but with Haaland just banging them in for City, and I guess with Núñez only having 1 goal so far this season, hopefully we're gonna see more output from him soon. Although with all our forward line fit now, it does take a bit of pressure off him, maybe give him some time to get accustomed to the team more. The fact that we've got Jota back and Firmino in there as well. Liverpool definitely deserved the victory. Ajax, they scored their first shot on target, and they're a good team. They're a very good ball-playing team. They played their way out of the press a few times really nicely, and they did have a couple of other chances, in particular that Danny Blind header. But Liverpool could have scored a lot more. They had 25 shots in total. I think 10 were on target. Their keeper made some good saves. There were a few unlucky moments. It was a good performance overall. Well worth the victory. And critical, because we're not playing again until October. So to have to sit on more dropped points over the next few weeks, just it would have been hard to take. And just to reignite our Champions League challenge as well, it would have been difficult if we dropped points in this game too. Takeaways from the game: we need to keep Thiago and Matip fit. In particular, Thiago, there's no like for like. Well, maybe Artur can do a similar role, obviously not to the same level. I do think that's why we got him. But we just look a totally different team when he's in there. Not just offensively, not just his use of the ball. Defensively, he's excellent as well. If he's got Fabinho in there sitting behind him, he can take risks when he tries to win the ball. And he's pretty damn good at it, considering his size and the fact that he's not that fast. And his positioning. he just takes up the right. He's an elite midfielder. And the drop-off is big, especially if it's not Keita. It is critical that we try to keep him fit. Once the games restart in October, it's going to be 2 a week, 2 a week, 2 a week. This has to be the baseline now. The one concerning thing is that 2 of the 3 wins we've had this season, excluding the Charity Shield, we've won at Anfield with late goals. Bournemouth's been the only game where we had a game beyond doubt. Let's get back to showing that kind of quality, showing dominance, putting a game to rest by half time. This performance, I do think, lays the groundwork for more results like that. It was uplifting to see this kind of turnaround, the fact that this team still have it. There's been so much criticism over the last few weeks. But now we just got to rinse and repeat. We got to get back to the consistent side that we've been over the last multiple years. And again, I don't want to reset expectations too quick. We got to show that we can do it week in, week out. But if we do, we'll be a side to be reckoned with again. I'll see you next time.